Hello, animal lovers, guardians, and pet parents extraordinaire. Denise Fleck, the Pet Safety Crusader here, taking a moment to reflect and remember the amazing best friends and the lessons of life they have taught me. August 28th is considered Rainbow Bridge Remembrance Day. And I encourage you to check in your communities and neighborhoods. Very often at pet cemeteries or in affiliation with animal groups or in parks, special candlelight vigils will be held on this day to commemorate those animals that have made just such an amazing difference in our lives and have truly touched our hearts. I recall the first such ceremony I went to in Southern California, 18 years ago. And having lost the Sunny dog recently before that, those feelings were raw. And somehow just being around other people who also were grieving pets and being given the opportunity. I remember I hesitantly, but I did. I went up to the podium. It was in an outdoor park at night, holding a candle in a styrofoam cup lit, going up to the podium and telling Sunny's story. And you guys have all heard it before, and you can read it on the blog that's posted here. But what you may not know about her is actually this incredible paw print that I have of her right behind me, that's right by my desk, that's next to me every day and in my heart always. And this was done by her for me. We went to Griffith Park in California one evening. They were having a special, I believe it was the video release of 101 Dalmatians. So there were Dalmatians walking up and down the red carpet, and there were all kinds of fun things to do. And somehow they had actually got furniture stores to loan out sofas. And these sofas were placed all around the park for people and their pets to sit in and watch the outdoor movie. Well, there was this opportunity there in Griffith Park that night for dogs to do paw prints. And the Sunny dog did this for me. And it's just such a wonderful memory. So as we're all looking towards Remembrance Day and the Rainbow Bridge Day, which is tomorrow, the 28th, I really would encourage you to post below in this post a memory of your best friend. Because we all know, those of you that listen to me all the time, that animals really make such a special impact in our lives. Oh, Janice, how nice to see you there. When Sunny passed away, it just truly drained my soul. And I have to share this with you, that I was very lucky at the time, and I was been very lucky since, that I have had some special veterinarians, some truly special veterinarians. But when Sunny passed away, when it was that moment, he had such an incredible bedside manner. He listened to her with a stethoscope, and he said, "She's with the angels." I knew I wasn't going to get through this today without crying, but that had such an impact on me, and the difference in the approach was so different from other veterinarians I had later on when I had to take a pet in to be euthanized because it was the kindest thing to do, and they would listen with a stethoscope and say, "She's gone," or "He's gone." But and I've got to mention his name, bless him, he's no longer with us. He's an angel himself, but Dr. Martin Small just really touched me in that way when he said, "She's with the angels." So bedside manner is so important, and it really helped heal my heart and soul and let her go on to her next chapter. Sunny was my first canine child, but before that I had many canine siblings. I was raised by a Great Dane named Ulysses Pelopony. And the Pelopony, I'm really dating myself here today, but it came from the Honeymooners TV show. Art Carney actually mispronounced the word polo ponies in an episode, and my dad laughed hysterically and gave Ulysses that 180-pound Great Dane of ours the middle name of Pelopony, because in fact at 180 pounds he was a small horse. I had Jojo the poodle and Rosebud the cat and Blondie the white shepherd, who, if you guys, it's coming out in mid-September, a book called Second Chance Dogs. Her story's in that. It's a great anthology written by all different people with animals, about animals that have touched their lives. And then I went on to have Moonshine, who really was a special dog. And if you read my blog, you see for some reason she was the dog that every song I heard on the radio, and that's when I was totally into country and still am, I changed the words to apply to Mooner. But after Sunny, I had so many child canines, and they've each made a different impact on my life. And what I just want to share with you today is we're all thinking about all of the animals in our lives. That to every time there is a season, to every time there is a purpose under heaven. Some of you younger ones may know that song was covered by Winston Phillips. I'm of the generation that enjoyed it by the Byrds. But it's just an amazing, touching song that kind of puts things together. And our animals just learn lessons so much more quickly than we do. I honestly feel that's why they get to go on to the next chapter. Dogs know the secret of life. And to me, from what they've told me, the secret of life is to love unconditionally and to accept that love in return. Of course, we have to cope with loss, and we're the ones left behind when our animals go on. But we have to keep them alive in our hearts forever and embrace some of the other messages they've taught us as well. Because if we tune in, we really need to take time to smell the flowers. When Haiku and I go on our walks every day, I want to show him a cloud formation, or I want to show him, a flower that's blooming. But he's nose to the ground, really getting that intense information, smelling, checking his email, as I often call it. But every moment is fleeting and every moment has beauty. So it's important that we're like our animals and that we are in that moment, that we are present. When we're with family and friends, nothing will make them feel more important and loved than if we're really giving them our undivided attention. I always talk about putting away those cell phones when you're walking the dog. Well, put that cell phone away when you're having dinner with family and friends as well. And just really listen. Take the time to listen. Also, animals, we watch them sleep and they're having their dreams and their legs are running and their lips are curling. Sometimes they're growling, sometimes they're purring. But I think that's another lesson we can learn, to take the time to dream and to believe in our dreams. That's what life's about, and it's what really makes it exciting. It isn't so much the destination, it's the journey, the getting there, and to have it something to look forward to. That's one of the things my husband always talks about, Haiku, that he always has something to look forward to. His walk in the morning, his breakfast, his belly rubs, his treats, and that does a human spirit a lot of good as well. Focus. We all need to do work. So when it's time to work, have your eye on the prize and stay focused. But when it's time to play, play hard. Really enjoy yourself and be in the moment and focus on play as well as on work. One thing I've adopted over the last several years, I guess I've got it from my pets, because like when they do something, I'm not going to even go into bathroom habits, but sometimes after something is accomplished in their lives, they're so joyful and gleeful, and it really wasn't a big deal, but you just see a lot of excitement. One thing that comes to mind are bunnies. They do what's called a binky. And it's just really like a yippee. They'll jump all 4 feet in the air. Normally, bunnies don't have all 4 feet off the ground, but a binky is when they do. Well, I think it's important that we high five our small victories. If you actually get on the treadmill in the morning, or if you drink your water, or if you write that email you've been putting off. Give yourself that high five and, celebrate even those smallest victories, because it just kind of moves us forward and keeps us on that momentum, knowing that we're doing good and we're on schedule. It's so important to bark out loud. And boy, I can go off on this in a lot of tangents in the world today, but animals will speak up, and we need to speak up for them and for our fellow humans. When we are quiet, we're letting injustices go by. So bark out loud, speak up for others, and also bark out loud showing gratitude. So many people are so eager to write a note when something didn't go right and complain to a company. But do you take time to actually write that email when somebody really gave you great customer service? Dogs, no matter how they're treated, they always greet us with that best wag every single time we come in that door. Like, you know, bygones are bygones. If we've had a bad day, they're there happy to greet us. And it's just the most wonderful greeting any of us can imagine. So remember that dogs, you know, that dogs really accept us for just being unconditional. That's what I said before. They unconditionally accept us even when we have those bad moments. And it's important that we all wag, howl, and pounce. Just remember that a dog, you know, wags his tail, not his tongue. So we need to keep that in check. But it's just so great to share your heart, to open up to someone else, human, canine, or feline, and be there for them when they need you the most. And also they will in turn be there for you. Life's a long journey, hopefully, for all of us, and it's so much better walked with a friend. And then finally, one of the lessons my pets have taught me is to accept affection. Some people are very good at giving it, giving compliments, expressing gratitude, helping, but it's so hard for them to take a compliment in return or have somebody do something for them. Think of how your cat loves the ear scratches or your dog that belly rub, and they accept it graciously. So do the same, you know, when somebody offers that to you. And just remember how wonderful all these animals are that have touched our lives. I've been honored to share my life with 11 dogs and a cat, but through my work at various shelters and rescues, so many more have touched my life. I often think of Spotty at the Burbank Animal Shelter. She was a little poodle, probably 100 years old when she came in, and we were all getting nervous because it was getting close to Thanksgiving, and we didn't want her to be, you know, in the kennel on the hard concrete as the weather started turning cold. And I know I had taken her on KTLA to show her off, and we had her in the paper, and you know, we were promoting her, trying to get her adopted. And one day I walked into the local pet store to get food for my own dog, and at the checkout, there was Spotty with a family. And I just remember going, Spotty! And the family looked at me like, how do you know my dog? And, you know, I explained to them, and it was just such a wonderful thing. She had gotten her home for Christmas, and she had a family who loved her. They were buying her a bed and a collar and leashes and bowls and toys. And they just adored Spotty. And Spotty had a wonderful holiday with the family. And shortly before New Year's, she passed away in her sleep with her family by her side. Granted, they knew they weren't going to have her forever, and it was a short time, but those last moments were love-filled in a home. And I think that's the best gift we can give to any animal, to make those golden years really, really special. So I thank you guys, and I want to be grateful that you're always tuning in and trying to extract some knowledge about pet care from me, and, you know, passing it along to the animals in your lives. So I am grateful for all of you, and I'm going to try to conclude, because it is, you know, we're on the eve of Remembrance Day, Rainbow Bridge Day. Like I said, I do encourage you to find in your community, if there happens to be a candlelight vigil or anything going on, it's often a great catharsis to, you know, share your pet story with other people. But if not, take a few moments, light a candle at home, and think of the animals that are no longer in your physical space, but that are here forever in your heart. Write a poem about them. Just, you know, think about them fondly. And I'm going to conclude, if there's any way I can get through it, the Rainbow Bridge. It's reprinted in the Autumn and Winter of Your Pet book of mine. And it's just beautiful, but I don't think I've ever gotten through it without tears. So here I go. By the edge of a woods at the foot of a hill is a lush green meadow where time stands still, where the friends of man and woman do run when their time on earth is over and done. For here, between this world and the next, is a place where each beloved creature finds rest. On this golden land they wait and they play, till the rainbow bridge they cross over one day. No more do they suffer in pain or in sadness, for here they are whole, their lives filled with gladness. Their limbs are restored, their health renewed, their bodies have healed with strength imbued. They romp through the grass without even a care, until one day they start and sniff at the air. All ears prick forward, eyes dart front and back. Then all of a sudden, one breaks from the pack. For just at that instant, their eyes have met, together again, both person and pet. So they run to each other, these friends from long past. The time of their parting is over at last. The sadness they felt while they were apart has turned into joy once more in each heart. They embrace with a love that will last forever. And then, side by side, they cross over together. I hope none of you are joining that rainbow bridge anytime soon, but I know it will be joyful for all of us when we're reunited with all of the amazing animals in our lives. I love all of you. I love all of the animals, and I look forward to seeing you without tears next time. But it's important that we shed tears, that we express the love and gratitude that animals have made and the impact on our life. And I know my husband Paul would be right here with me saying that by being pet parents to 11 dogs and a cat over my lifetime so far, it has truly made us better humans. Take care and remember those animals.